welcome to episode 3 of the Thunderwave Cave podcast. It's 1st of January, start of a new year. Lots hopefully to happen in 2022, but obviously a lot has also happened in 2021 that we'd quite like to go over and touch upon. So we're going to try and run through the months, some of the big releases, some of the big games that have come out, and we'll touch upon a few of the things in finer detail. But starting us off with January 2021, it was a bit lackluster. Wasn't a lot on our list of stuff to talk about. There was a Single and Rapid Strike Master released in Japanese market. Don't think it was overly popular from memory. So we'll skip past that very quickly and move on to Shining Fates that came out in February, which is also the sort of official 25th anniversary of Pokémon. Believe it or not, even if Celebrations is something we'll talk about a bit later into the podcast. But the big thing also that happened in February was, and you guys might hate even talking about this, but it was Logan Paul opening another one of the first edition Pokemon booster boxes. Yeah, I don't know who he is, but he did have a bit of a hand to play in the boom that happened in 2020, whether you like it or not, I suppose. But this was his second opening. He did the first one, and I don't know how much you guys were aware, but the first one I think sold for roughly about $200,000 split across the packs. And I believe the second one was more up towards $1 million split across the people just spending way more money on the packs. He'd basically gone and made it really expensive for him to go and buy boxes. So he released a video leading up to his second box break, which was the fact that he'd gone and bought, I can't even remember how many, at least 6 or so first edition base set booster boxes. But the price he had to pay per box was way more than he had to pay when he did the first opening back in like October, I think it was, of 2020. Because he'd done that boom of the market, he'd got some more people interested in it, and now suddenly he was paying sort of tenfold to get the exact same stuff.
Yeah. So was it this break or the first break where he had the special PSA graded label?
I believe it was the second.
Was the
second
yeah,
one.
I think it was the second break.
Yeah. Yeah, because that was because that. Yeah, was because obviously he charged a lot more, and I remember at the time people said they're not worth it, but you were getting something extra as well. Were you getting an option to grade? Was that how it was working?
So he basically, the option was there to grade. If you graded and it got a 10, I think that's what got you the Logan Paul status. I don't think they did it for anything 9 and below.
Had to get a 10.
To get a 10.
Yeah.
And with the first opening, he did this is the price per pack, basically. This is what you're paying, get a pack. But the second opening, it was auction. It was like you just spend whatever it's going to go to in the auction, in the marketplace. And obviously people were just bidding like crazy. And he also threw in like a special NFT, trying to get that whole NFT world going and crypto stuff going. And so he pushed that. He was basically like, anyone who gets a pack with me is going to get this exclusive NFT that you can only get by doing this. So again, it's that extra bit of value with NFTs, completely separate to the Pokemon market really, but they've taken a big boom this year as well. And so he was trying to again get himself in and probably make himself a bit of money off of that at the start of the year.
Nice. And his brother's been fighting a bunch of people, so...
Yeah, you are. I mean, which one do you want to sort of? This is Ryan, everyone, who is clearly too old for this sort of social media thing. Jake Paul, which is Logan Paul's brother, he's been doing boxing and pay-per-view events and stuff. He's been making an absolute killing for it. To be fair to him,
Logan Paul made a killing getting smashed up by Mayweather. So
he did indeed. Yeah, exactly. Well, although. We're going off a tangent a little bit here, but there was something leaked recently that Logan Paul hasn't been paid most of the money that he was promised. So who knows what's happening with there? But I'm sure he gets enough from his Pokemon.
That's amazing.
He'll have to fight the rest.
He's got enough money, mate. He doesn't need any more.
He's got plenty. He's got plenty. But I suppose he should get what he was contractually, entitled to. I should think. But that's a conversation for another day, I'm sure. So then we went into March. March had Matchless Fighter come out in Japan, but it was also towards the end of the month, I believe, we got Battle Styles. Not a hugely popular set. I quite like a couple of the cards that are in there, which, correct me if I'm wrong, but that was the first time, at least, that I've been involved in Pokemon where they've started introducing these nice full art, alternative art cards. The Tyranitar having his nice little picnic laid out all full of food and happy to go. But that was for me like the start of those really nice alt cards that came out. I don't know about you guys. I don't know what ones you sort of have been seeing this year and which ones you've liked. The T-Tar for me was my favourite probably so far.
So I remember the first alt arts that I came across were back in Sun and Moon, and that was that Magikarp one. You remember that? It was quite a tag team one. But they were quite different in terms of... I agree with what you're saying, that the new alt arts have a very different feel to the old alt arts. But there's also a lot more of them. I do like that Magikarp one. But I think for me, I do like the Tyranitar from Battle Styles as well. The Blaziken as well from... I think that was Matchless Fighters, actually. Or was it? Or was that Battle Styles? Maybe, I don't know. But that was there's a nice Blaziken like in the city. Isn't he? He's got some tower blocks behind him. That was really nice too.
Yeah, I like any of the city artwork cards. I really like the Jolteon they did. That's only just come out in the box sets, I believe, with the V Max and the V alt arts together. I really like the city arts. One of my favourite alt arts is Darkrai and Umbreon, and that's also a city artwork sort of style card. I don't know what it is. It's just Pokemon in the city and all the lights, and it just looks really cool. But going back to Battle Styles, that's actually one of my favourite Sword and Shield sets. I don't know why. It's the first time I've not watched much Sword and Shield, so I haven't seen Urshifu before, and I was like, I really like this Pokemon. He's cool. And the story for it, like, I can't remember what it's called, the little guy for the Ush, and they train at different towers, and that's how they evolve into the separate ones and stuff. But I thought the set was like a really sort of, I don't know, slap-happy Pokemon. Like, it was the first one in Sword and Shield that felt like a proper Pokemon set to me, even though it didn't probably have a lot of the Pokemon you'd be after in it. I don't know. I just really enjoyed opening it. I still do. And T-Tower is probably one of my favourite alt arts. But Sword and Shield favourite has got to be Umbreon VMAX for me.
Yeah, you love your Umbreons though, don't you?
Yeah.
I'm not sure why Battle Styles gets quite a bad rep though, because like you say, there was quite a good set. There was that and. There's an old chart for the Ush I don't know, he's like water with things around him. I can't remember the card. But that's like, that pull rate is ridiculous for that card. And like as chase cards go, that's probably up there. But no one really mentions that and they just move on from it. So, and then now they don't want Battle Style packs. But I'll take Battle Styles over chilling. So
I'll take the price of Battle Styles over everything else.
I'd probably agree. I mean, that's the thing, right? Is it's cheap because no one wants it. But yeah, I mean... Battle Stars, I think, is a little bit underrated. And, I've got loads of it hanging around, to be fair. So I quite like if people thought it was a bit more popular, so they take it off my hands. But for me, those kind of stars of alt art cards have been great. And, moving on through the sets that we're going to go through, they've, been resurfacing again and again and are probably the chase cards for me always is just straight to the alt art cards and not really worry about anything else. Moving into April then, we saw the Japanese release of Silver Lance and Jet Black. So this was another one of the double hitting boxes like they did with the Single and Rapid Strike Master at the beginning of the year. It wasn't really that popular in all honesty at the time. It was also, not the easiest to get a huge volume of. It was almost the start of the problems that we'll talk about around EV Heroes in a minute. But they also released a game. So I believe Pokemon Snap, Bush, which I know you've got, came out in April.
Yeah. So depending on your age, if we were to go back in time to 1999, we'll all remember playing on our N64s, and we were either playing Zelda, Pokemon Stadium, or Pokemon Snap. So I didn't have an N64, but at my place where I went after school, they had one. So I remember playing Snap and Zelda, Stadium and Zelda all the time. Then played Snap a little bit. And obviously, the premise of the game is you're on rails and you go around and you take pictures of Pokemon. That's it. It's a classic N64 game, and everyone loved it. Everyone did love it, and I guess it wasn't too hard back then to create a game that's going to be amazing. Like say N64. I mean, GoldenEye I get as well. That's probably a game that was top notch. So that was good, and then obviously they decided to basically rebrand it and bring it back to us on the Nintendo Switch. What's quite interesting is they advertised Snap at like a Pokemon Presents thing in like I think it was about June 2020, and then it'll be released in obviously April 2021. So there's quite a lot of anticipation. I remember a lot of people wanting Snap, looking forward to it. I remember watching Leonhardt do some pack openings, and he was mentioning it, and because obviously he had the old like Pokemon Snap that you can find in like old video stores, like in Blockbusters. They had a where you stand next to it and you can play it. So he was really excited for it, and I remember a lot of hype coming around. And then obviously it came out, and to be fair, the reception's been fantastic. It's got 79% score on Metacritic, which is quite high. They upgraded the graphics, and the only other thing they really changed was that the Pokemon that you could see was affected if it was day or night, which it didn't do in the original. So they didn't change too much. It was just updated graphics, still on the rail system, obviously a little bit different story, but pretty much the same thing. So I bought it, I played it. For a game, I wasn't very happy with it. There's not much you can do. I was hoping more of a let's walk around. Yeah, we don't need to be on the rails anymore. I understand why you're on the rails back in N64 day. They would have to have made it a lot better to be able to do that. So I get it, but now if we could walk around, sneak up on a Pokemon, that might be something that we'd want. But like I say, everyone else loved it. It was I did have some numbers, but of like how many sold or something. It was sort of ridiculous. I haven't got it now, but everyone else likes it. I've got it, like I say, but I will be looking to sell my copy at some point soon. So,
Pokemon Snap for me always felt like it was like a feature of a game that they'd taken out of the game and then sold as another game. So like, you imagine just walking around an open world and you're training and you're battling, and you can go in your item bag and get your camera out and take a few snaps. And it was like, that's what Pokemon Snap feels like to me. It feels like it should be part of another game, but they've just, I don't know, tried to. There are games that you can literally do that in. So
yeah, if you think about like Mario Super Party, I think that's the right one. That's the game where like you roll the dice, I think, and you choose your Mario character. And then basically every time you land on a different square, you go to like mini games, and like you say, that would be quite a perfect mini game of sorts. So I know we talk about like Diamond and Pearl later on, obviously, and not to go too much detail, but obviously they have that underground part where you have lots of different mini games available, and again that would fit in there. Like, here you go, you're on a fake safari, take some pictures, but everyone seems to love it. I remember the kids at Bush Babies, they really wanted it, but their parents were like, so you just take pictures of Pokemon, and like refusing to buy it for them. So it's a tough one.
Yeah, I think like I'm a photographer by trade, and like I couldn't think of anything really worse, to be honest. And just going around on these trails. I mean, I'd like to do a safari. Don't get me wrong, but a Pokemon game, just taking photos of the Pokemon. Yeah, I didn't really get it. And when Bush went live in the Thunderwave Cave in the group to demonstrate and sort of go through the game, it was a bit like, do you know what? It looks boring to play and it's boring to watch. It wasn't a great one to go through, unfortunately. But yeah, it's nostalgia, right? That's probably why those people that really liked it, if they were really into it as a kid, then the nostalgia factor can take over sometimes. But yeah, it's probably not for me. It doesn't sound like it was for you, Bush. But the other big thing, just jumping back to April, the other big thing that happened was PSA closed their doors, Ryan.
Yeah. So PSA closed their doors. I was surprised. I was surprised and I wasn't. So what I was surprised at was the fact that they decided to wait nearly sort of 4 or 5 months to make the decision. You're thinking, why close now? You could have closed last year. You knew this was happening. Like you look at November submissions, and it's like thousands and thousands and thousands of submissions. So you're like, why is it taking you to April to close it, to suddenly realise, oh, this can't continue anymore? I've felt they should have done something sooner, definitely. I'm a PSA fan, and I'm sat here saying they could have handled it better. So, they closed their doors and left us with £200 submission routes only. which obviously means that people were sending cards of higher value only. And you've got this weird gap now in PSA where you've got lots of the same card being graded. So you've got cards from this era, but 6 months ago would have been graded in batches, and you've got like nothing registered on the pop report because it's just Charizard or Pikachu or Rayquaza or whatever, all tarts. It's been interesting though, because you've seen like an Umbreon VMAX Alt-Art for £600 and a PSA 10 because it's cost. The card at Raw was like £100 plus, then £150 to £200 grading fee. You're already at £300, and actually, not many people have been sending them in. More people have now because it did come down a bit, but at the time, it's been interesting. PSA closing. I think they made the right decision. I just think they did it too late, and I think they possibly should have said no submissions, full stop, for at least a month, maybe, just to show people a little bit of commitment of, we acknowledge we've made a bit of a mess of it, because it was PSA. Ultimately, they're the ones who are controlling it. I've seen people blame submitters, which I just think is absolutely absurd. How can you blame submitters? People want to submit their cards. That's what the service is open. They've done nothing wrong. Graded Gem were definitely a little bit to blame on this as well, because again, why take so many submissions? On why send so many?
Although they did a couple of times, didn't they, where they shut their doors before PSA had done it, and I guess they were probably, who knows what conversations they were having, but maybe PSA weren't giving them the information of like, we're going to shut, or this is what's happening, because I know it was sort of January time, I think, with Graded Gem where they shut their doors, because I did a submission and straight after mine they then closed their doors down for a bit.
Yeah, I think PSA ultimately, the sort of the book stops with them, doesn't it? So they are ultimately the ones that should have controlled it. I just think Graded Gem maybe could have foreseen it a bit better, having their sort of experience in the industry, considering they literally did. Oh well, I mean, okay, they closed their doors once or twice, but not before they'd taken a lot of submissions.
Oh yeah, of course.
It's fair enough to a certain point. They're there to make money. However, it is interesting that Ludkins did this sooner and quicker, and they're still going to be taking PSA submissions when the lower end services open up. Like, they haven't stopped, and Graded Gem are no longer doing it. So, what happened there? I don't suppose we'll ever know. But I think it could have been handled a bit better. But hopefully. Fingers crossed this year. They do that and learn from it.
I've heard rumours that it's going to be sort of middle of the year to open up the sort of bulk services. How they'll do that, whether they'll have something that stops you from just again, getting a flurry, and all these people, like you say, there's all these cards that have come out since that don't have any pop reports, no one's going to have been sending them in to get graded. Are people going to send them in now to get them all through PSA? Who knows? But I suppose hopefully they handle that process of reopening well, so that the same issue doesn't arise, right?
I presume we've all got submissions that we're still waiting to get back. I mean, my first ever PSA submission was in November, obviously whenever that was, and that's still not back. And then I've got 6-7 months worth after that until they shut. I got my last submission in just before they shut. So we're expecting.
Were you sending every month? Were you?
Yeah, so I sent about I don't know, 10 to 20 cards, maybe a little bit more every month of different cards, and I think they're in encapsulation now, the November ones, but they've been in that for like a month, so it's not like it speeds up at that point. So I'm hoping I'll get them back maybe for May, is my feelings. And then my original idea was why I sent it monthly was I thought, well, when they do start coming back, at least I know that every month I might have a package from PSA with a bunch of cards in. But I don't think it's going to be like. I think when they do start coming back, it'll be like maybe every 3 months I might get a submission back. So
yeah, I think September's bulk, I think, had just started coming back. Those are the ones I've seen a few sort of returns
crazy
from.
September, as in September 18, nearly 18 months ago. September.
So my first submission was
Bonkers.
October, not November. So yeah, September's come back. So then October, I reckon it'll be a couple of months.
And they've spent 8 months catching up. Yeah. I mean, we've seen a lot of cards graded in that 8 months that were sent within that 8 months and come back. That's what I mean.
But
it doesn't look great, but I understand they've got to continue because they can't. They're a grading company. They can't just stop the current stuff.
No.
They've got to make a bit of room for it. But you just think, how far? Like, how bad was that backlog to be 8 months into catching up and still only getting September's bulk from nearly 18 months ago out? It's bonkers. When's it going to be caught up?
I suppose it's the bit around, because I think the stats came out at some point that Pokemon only makes up something between like 20 and 30% of grading at PSA. Yeah. So like, has other markets that we just don't know about had similar things that people are now using PSA more? Like, is that what's caused the problem, or is it purely because, as far as I'm aware, they shut everything, right? Like, they didn't just shut Pokemon. No. So
I think there was booms all over for everything. I think every trading card thing saw some sort of a boom at least. I don't know about Magic the Gathering because it is a big gamer's game, and the one thing you couldn't do in all of that was sit down and play Magic. So, which is how they sell their product as an actual game. But there was definitely a boom for all of it. But
yeah, well, hopefully, anyway, in the next few months, we'll be seeing PSA taking on more stuff, and hopefully they handle it well. That moves us on to May. In May, we had a couple of releases. So in the UK, we had the McDonald's set, which reared itself in May. We'd already had quite a few of the cards around because the American market had it way earlier. I can't even remember when, but I remember getting a whole box brought in from the US. So it had already been in the market. I actually had a full master set before the UK lot even appeared. I was done with the set anyway. And then the UK market came around, and there was a lot of the same sort of thing, people buying up whole boxes, which, didn't go down too well. I personally didn't buy up a whole box, but I had done with the American market, obviously. And so I know that there was a bit of a boom around the McDonald's stuff. Ryan, I think you had a set at one point. I think you might have moved it on by now. Or you still got it?
Yeah, I did have a set, but I've sort of given up on sets this year because they just sit in folders in a drawer basically, and I'm way more into slabs. Like the one thing that I haven't moved on once since I've started collecting is my PSA stuff. Like, I really like it, and my sealed that's like sort of vintagey / get into vintage. So sets, even my Hidden Fate set, like I've moved that on because I've started getting them in slabs, and so there that sort of went away with Mackies. I've got an empty binder here.
Yeah, well, there you go, exactly. But I mean, I've got the set, but yeah, like you say, it's sat in a folder since I got it all sorted, and it probably will remain in the folder forevermore. But so that was what happened really in the UK market, and then we had a bit of a fiasco, really, didn't we, with the Japanese market in May, with the release of Eevee Heroes.
That's all I really have to say about it. Yeah. I still don't know what to make of it all, to be honest. Now I know a bit more. I say now I know a bit more, and now I don't know a bit more. I was really angry at the time. I couldn't figure out where the price rises were coming from. So, I mean, it did quickly sort of become clear that this was happening to everybody and not just select sellers. So while my instant rage was probably aimed at sellers, I sort of appreciated after that there's something bigger happening at the source, and but I still don't know why. I don't know, because I know my friends married to somebody from Japan. They live over here at the minute, but they've got friends there still, and the Pokemon prices over there haven't changed in the shops or anything. So you still, like, I spoke to them and they said no, like, there's, as far as they know, Pokemon price, you can go into the stores and buy packs at the same prices. So It must. I assumed it was something to try and combat the level of sort of export on it, because actually Japan don't want their Japanese Pokemon cards exported. It says on the back of all the boxes, not for sale outside of Japan and stuff. So that it's. I'm assuming it's to do with that, but the price increase, and again the way that stuff got handled was bonkers. By especially by one company, which I won't name, but cancelling my EV Heroes order about 4 days before release date. They knew that's one thing that upset me, because they knew that was going to happen. They didn't find out 4 days before. Come on, it's not like when they're dealing in the volumes they do. They knew about it, and they just sort of left you lurking there after emails and emails of saying, "Am I getting this product? Yes, you will." And then cancel it, leaving you no other choice but to try and get some from somewhere at ridiculous prices, and it just spoilt it all a bit, and it just seemed to carry on from there. You've gone from £45 all in a box to £75 all in a box.
Yeah, and it felt a bit like they used the popularity of Eevee and the evolutions, didn't it, as well? Because like the other sets before that had been massively imported into the UK and were really popular, but as soon as EV Heroes came along, it was like, oh, this set's going to be absolutely ridiculous. Let's use this as an opportunity to get some money out of those UK and US sort of collectors. And it's still not settled down fully yet. It has got a little bit better, but it hasn't settled down. So that's a bit of a. Hopefully that sort of changes over time.
It was like you say though, it was so anticipated. It was the first like at the time before EV Heroes, we would every month we would have live ripper ships of UK and Japanese, and they were lots of fun. All the collectors were in on it, and that's just kind of how it worked. And then we had this big build up to EV Heroes, and like everyone was going mad for it because the cars looked amazing, and obviously people also hyped up Evolving Skies, knowing we were going to get some of them in the English set. But they, like I say, we were all getting hyped up for it, and there's got to be a connection between that hype and them deciding, we're going to screw you all over. But the problem is it didn't help them, surely, because then until VMAX Climax, which we'll talk about later on, the Japanese market here has just been dead. Like no one could care less. There's been no ripping ships. Like it's just like no one wanted anything. There was just no need. And then obviously VMAX Climax comes, and we'll talk about that with its good cards, and from a bit of a push from us, I guess, as well, we have started the ripping ships up again on the Japanese stuff. But it's just they must have been a loss somewhere for them and all the Japanese suppliers, because no one was getting EV Heroes, and then no one was getting. Well, what was the Japanese set after EV Heroes? I can't even remember it.
It was Blue Sky Stream and
that's right, that's true.
Which is the Rayquaza and Duraludon.
But no one was buying them. There was no live openings of them at all on any page. I know
it was the same issue, right? So where Ryan touched upon the issue of the price increase, so you used to be able to get like the standard set from Japan, like a UK seller would sell them for somewhere around the £50 to £60 mark. EV Heroes came along and they were selling for like £90 to £100, and so like you're talking almost just full on double the price, and it didn't settle down quickly. So like the Blue Sky Stream that came out, which we'll touch upon in a sec, but that came out and the price continued to stay high on the Blue Sky Stream one, which was the one that Rayquaza was in. The Duraludon one, that was a little bit lower, but still higher than it would have been sort of previously. And that's continued to be a pattern. Even the latest set, VMAX Climax, is way more expensive than it necessarily would have been back when Shiny Star V came out the first time. So in terms of being able to pick it up from suppliers. But I mean, that market we don't have a huge amount of control over. Like you say, we sort of had to take word on everyone else, right? We saw it happening not just to one seller, it was happening to everyone that would normally sell stock at a decent price. If it was happening to everyone, it was completely out of their control. Nothing we could do other than either put up the money if you wanted the boxes that much, or just not.
Had it been done reasonably, I'd still be buying it. Like I was putting in £3,000, £4,000 orders sometimes, and I just completely stopped it, and I haven't done one since, and I won't, because I'm just like, I'm still that outraged over it. But The point is like they've gone from that to having nothing. Like, and I think a lot of people have done this.
Yeah.
But I mean, maybe that's what they wanted to stop. But I just think if you'd have just handled it a bit better and just put the price up a little bit and said, okay, we still want to keep this sort of here, but maybe you just need to sort of order a bit less or limit the orders.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just think
they should have honoured pre-orders.
Yeah.
Like they said they were going to, not just cancelled it. If they'd done that and then put up the next set at the time of pre-order, there'd be no complaints, right? The problem is that they'd gone right, pre-order as much as you like. This is the amount it's going to be. And historically, with the supplier that Ryan is referencing and I'm talking about as well, historically, that is what we would have done. We would have put in our order for this amount, this many boxes, done. That's what we're paying. That's what we're getting. No questions asked, done. And that's not what happened. And yeah, you're right. I remember they promised you that they were going to...
an email.
Yeah, they were going to give you the stuff and you were going to get it, and then they turned around and just cancelled all our orders. And we'd been telling people, no, we've been told we're going to get it, we're going to be doing our lives, don't worry about it. And then they pulled the carpet out from under our feet, and it made us look bad. And so I completely understand like why you wouldn't want to use them again. I have used them again for VMAX Climax, but I was very much cautious with anyone that I told about it, that I don't know if I'd get it. I don't know if I will, and if I do, then I'll do it. If I don't, I won't. And that was
fair play for going for it. That wasn't actually that badly priced. Well,
No.
In fact, it is when you look at what GX
should have
tag
been.
boxes were when they were out, because they were less than 40 quid a box all in to buy.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So moving on from that, because we could go for ages complaining about the Japanese market, but it is what it is. In June,
everything.
in June, yeah, I know. Yeah, your whole Japanese collection gone just because of that. Right. In June of 2021, all we really had was Chilling Reign. Wasn't an amazing set either. I actually, like Bush touched upon earlier, I did prefer Battlestar to Chilling Reign personally. But that was what we got. We got some cards from the Chilling Reign set. Again, it wasn't a huge, fan favorite. Then we move into July. July is when we got the Japanese set was released of Blue Sky Stream and Towering Perfection, which we touched upon again, like weren't something that we really got or that we did with the group or anything like that, or groups we were in before. But there was also, Bush, there was another game release, wasn't there? So we had Pokemon Unite released in July.
Yeah, so Pokemon Unite, which to anyone who's played League of Legends before, it's quite similar to that, but obviously with Pokemon characters. The biggest selling point of it is that it's free to play. And it does feel like a A-class game when you download it. It's not like... I don't know, then Pokemon Facebook games that were released, like where it was just like Match the Crystals, and it was just basically, I can't remember what's the game called, Classic Tetris. Yeah, basically Pokemon Tetris that we keep getting on like Facebook. It wasn't like that, which is kind of what I was probably expecting from a game, but it was a proper made game with lots of different characters, with this group, this team kind of emphasis of it, with lots of support and all that. So for me, it came out. I downloaded it on the day it came out. Had a little play, thought it was fun. I've gone back to it and played it now and then since, and it cost me a penny. So from my point of view, I thought it was brilliant. Now, what's interesting about it is on Pokemon Company's YouTube, the announcement video of this game is their most disliked video of all time. So that's not even after the game's come out. That's just them announcing what this game's going to be. And I think that's crazy, because like there's not too much
to... about them?
Well, it's to do with this new, like, cause the idea that the Pokemon wanted it to be more of a team-based kind of game, and I think the problem is that we were still waiting to hear about what the next games are going to be, and then they said this is coming out, and because it wasn't like a Tetris style small game, it was a medium-sized game. People probably got upset because they were like, well, hang on, why are you spending time on this and not something else? Which they are, different publishers. I mean, the publisher did this is the guys who did like the Call of Duty mobile games and stuff like that. So they weren't like a small publisher, and they did a good job. After the game was released, it still got lots of quite bad criticisms, I guess, because there are microtransactions. It is pay to win kind of thing as well, and obviously no one likes that in a Pokemon game. But like I said, I've gone back not playing it all the time, but you can just go back, you can pick it up, and you can play. It's not like some of these like Facebook style games where you really do have to pay money to play. So it wasn't too bad. In terms of numbers, though, was quite interesting. Is on the Switch itself, it was downloaded over 9 million times, and taking in all devices, over 25 million in total. So a lot of people got it, a lot of people played it, and I think it was something different. A different style of Pokemon game, and it was something to play on the Switch at a time where you only really had Sword and Shield, but that had come and gone by now. So you either were playing the DLC on that, or you weren't. So it came at the right time, and I think it was quite a good game, but it did take quite a beating by critics and by social media.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, right? So because I've actually played. Weirdly, I've not played Pokemon Unite, but I have played quite a lot of like League of Legends, Heroes of the Storm. Heroes of the Storm was the one that I sort of went into. It's by Blizzard. It did World of Warcraft. So like I played a lot of that, and it's the same sort of gameplay. But you're right in the sense of like you're effectively drawn into this game, and then you're like, oh, but if you want to use this character, or you want these skins, or you want these things, like you have to put up the money. And I guess that can be sometimes a bit of a sour taste for people. You can play completely for free, but you're obviously limited to the lesser characters or the ones that they want you to be able to play with, and not the ones that you maybe want to do yourself. But those kind of games are great. I don't know why I never got into Pokemon Unite. Maybe I need to download it now. But those sort of games are great as far as I'm concerned. Free to play is brilliant. But yeah, you have to take it with a pinch of salt that like you are limited to what you can do until you put your credit card in and start buying stuff.
A bit like Pokemon Go. You can play it for free, but you're at a massive advantage if you start putting a bit of cash in.
Yeah, tends to be the way with all those sort of free-to-play games, doesn't it? They need to make their money somehow, so it's sort of it's expected. But
because the alternative is like every time you try and click something, an advert appears, and no one likes that. So surely you would rather have different ways of playing the game, but it can cost you.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. Well, so after July, August is when we had our big Evolving Skies release. So that was bringing some of the cards, not all of them, but some of the cards that we saw in EV Heroes back in May into the English market. I really liked Evolving Skies. A lot of nice alt cards made it in. Some of them didn't, and those are going to be or have started appearing over further sets. Anything from you guys around Evolving Skies? We haven't got it down as a point to talk about in any detail, but it is a set that maybe we could touch on.
What I liked about it was I thought, and obviously we'll spoil that, but I thought that it was going to be a trend of Pokemon giving the UK decent hit rates. Yeah, like Chilling Reign, that was the last English one before that, was it? Yeah. So that was notoriously bad for booster boxes. You could literally have 1 or 2 hits in a lot of them boxes. You very rarely got 4 or 5, which is kind of like the standard. Yeah. And it was so bad. And Evolving Skies came around, and not only were the booster boxes good, the triple boosters packs as well, they were given. There was obviously lots of secret rares, but there's lots of secret rares in every set these days, so that's not it. But they actually started giving them out, and that was quite nice. It was quite nice to open the booster boxes. It was quite nice to open just the single packs and actually see people getting their cards. And I thought at the time, could this be the time when Pokemon go, maybe we've been a bit too harsh. Maybe it's time to start giving a little bit more. Like they do sometimes with the Japanese. Again, we talk about VMAX Climax, where they've just seemed to have gone, oh, screw it, everyone have the cards. And yeah, you just don't. But it did. So Evolving Skies was nice, and obviously lots of the EV cards and the alt arts again. So that was a decent set, and I think that will remain to be a decent set. So in a few months' time, again, if you got any stock of that, Nick, I reckon they'll fly off the shelf again. So that's a good set.
I enjoyed Evolving Skies. But I like anything with evolutions in, because there's always a chance of Umbreons, and there's 3 absolutely banging Umbreons in that set. So the pull rates were good on Evolving Skies. I I'm not a fan of pull rates at all at the minute. Even if you get 5 in a box, I don't think it's enough, if I'm honest. When you think back to, if you look at a base set booster box, 12 out of 36 packs have got a hit. Yeah. And that's the biggest hit. That's a holo. So that's like, really, that's like open now. It should be 12 have a full art or above, I think. Yeah. If you I agree. Fair enough. Maybe not put Charizards everywhere because base set was still limited to, like, I think they would put like 4 Charizard holos on a sheet or something when they printed them. It wasn't many anyway, but so limit the big chase cards, but just up the actual pull rates of those ones because they're still not worth a lot of money anyway. A lot of those full arts and trainers and things. So. But for me, I think pull rates are way off. Anyway, I think they're way off. But they did feel a bit better for evolving.
Yeah, I think that's the problem, right? See, when you talk about pull rates, it's like, okay, we felt like we were getting a bit more with Evolving Skies, but actually, if you look at the size of the set and the number of secret rares, it's ridiculous. And the sets are still getting bigger. It just feels like, when is it going to end? Like, they're not giving the pull rates. They're just giving bigger sets and making it harder and harder for you to complete with opening packs purely. You either have to buy singles or trade. You know, not that the trade market's a bad thing to be getting into, like people trading between each other and stuff, but you just feel like if you're going to drop the money on a booster box at a time where they were probably selling for about 120 quid, you just want to be able to know that you're going to be able to complete the set with, you know, even a case worth or whatever, the majority of the cards, and leave you with enough to then trade. But you still weren't getting them, but it was better. Yeah.
And I think about the kids as well. Like I say, the kids at Bushberries are now, I think, officially off Pokemon. So that trend of Pokemon has now ended at their schools and all that. And that is mainly down to them getting their parents to buy them collection boxes and ETBs, because they don't buy booster boxes. Kids don't buy booster boxes. They'll buy individual packs from Asda or other supermarkets are available, or it's collection boxes and ETBs that they get from like a local game store. And it's actually heartbreaking when you see them like get an ETB or a collection box and get 0 pulls. Yeah, and because again, they don't care for the bulk either. No one wants the bulk. Yeah, apparently,
it's tragic.
I'll take it.
Especially when, like, nowadays, back when we were kids, the only way you found out really about the cards was either buying it or going and seeing your mates' cards at school. The kids nowadays are watching people open packs on YouTube and being like, "Oh, I want to pull this stuff," and then they're opening, like you say, their ETB in their collection box and pulling a Flapple V at best, and it's just like, but it is a bit heartbreaking to see it.
Yeah, it's unreal. You know, like the number of times across the different sets this year that we've opened stuff, we've opened collection boxes, we've opened ETBs, and you just don't get pulls. I mean, we're a little bit ahead of ourselves, but the Fusion Strike set that came out, I opened an ETB live in the group. I just wanted to show people the box. I went straight live as soon as it had pretty much turned up. I think it was like the day of release. I'd got the box. I did a live. I got 1 holo. Like, out of 8 packs, I got 1 holo. That's it. Not a V, tragic. Nothing. And it's like, it's like for what is a retail box at £42, to get that is just unreal. And so you can see why people are disheartened by buying some of these products, because what is the point? Yeah. Like, you're going to get nothing. You're going to get no cards towards the set. You're not going to get your secret rares. Pokemon, honestly, and I know we said this in our last podcast, and I said that they're not listening, but Pokemon need to sort themselves out with the pull rates.
They do.
They need to make it so that you buy a box and you are guaranteed something. Doesn't need to be the top chase card, like Ryan said. You print those, far less than others. But I should be able to open an ETB and go, right, well, I'm going to get at least like a full art trainer or a full art or an alt art or something out of my 8 packs, because otherwise I'm not going to go and buy another ETB.
I'm all right with not pulling the chase card. I'm not cool with opening a booster box or an ETB and pulling nothing. Like, it's just not cool. Like, and I know, okay, it says on the pack 11 additional trading cards or whatever, so you're not guaranteed anything, but it's just, we know they can do it with Japanese products. Every Japanese box has usually, I don't know, I'm thinking Sun and Moon now because I haven't opened much Sword and Shield Japanese, other than Shiny V and the odd bit, but, you got four GXs, a bunch of holos and a secret rare in every box.
Yeah.
So it is possible to pack these products where you get the hits. Like, we know it's doable because they do it in Japan.
I like to think that, like I say, as long as Bojo doesn't go put us in another lockdown, so that he isn't forced to kind of like boom, there's got to be a dip coming soon. Because like I say, every kid at this school, our local school, was into it. We ran a Pokemon club in the holidays and had loads of those people wanting to come, so there was a big desire, and they really are. Like I said, they're crashing out of it now, and obviously their parents were not spending like the amounts that us three do here on bloody Pokemon. But it all adds up, and so I'm hoping Pokemon, if that can just take a little dent out of Pokemon, just then go, so they can go. Actually, it's just people still living with their mums, Ryan, buying the Pokemon cards now. We need to get kids back on it, and maybe they're not going to make it cheaper. So the only way they can do it is make the sets bigger, which they have done. Now let's just increase the hit rate.
Yeah, no, definitely. Right, well, so moving on from that and talking about the Japanese market, in September, Fusion Arts came out, which is a little bit what appears in our Fusion Strike beyond that, but there's nothing really to talk about with that one because, like we say, we haven't been collecting those. And then in October, we had the 25th anniversary release in both Japan. I mean, in Japan, it was the 25th anniversary collection, and in the UK, it was Celebrations. But with the Japanese stuff, they did something a bit strange, which actually goes against what we were just saying about the Japanese cards usually having these guaranteed pulls in. Generally speaking, that is the case. But with the 25th anniversary collection, for some weird idea, they thought it would be really, really good to take all the really nice cards that in the English set we'd call the classics, you know, all the sort of Charizards and Blastoise and Venusaur, your Groudons, Rockets Admin, etc., and put them inside promo packs. And they were supposed to be that every time you bought a booster box for the main set of the 25th anniversary stuff, which is where the Gold Mew was and the full art Pikachu, I believe, and the full art Professor's Research. Those were in that box, and you should have got 4 promo packs with each one. But what made it worse is the promo packs doesn't seem to be across the board, but there seems to be quite a few YouTube videos that are out there that show that you can shine a torch, and the right card being at the front, you'll be able to see, well, right card being in there rather, you'll see what it is. And so it became a horrible market for people to buy off of each other. People were selling just the boxes without the promos, which meant you never had even a chance of getting the good stuff. And so suddenly Japan went against everything that they'd normally done, and suddenly you were hunting to try and get the good stuff rather than actually being guaranteed something within those boxes, which is a bit of a strange one to me. Yeah,
it was just plain stupid. And I think they must have saw that in terms of like definitely export. I mean, there wasn't many people in this country really wanted it, and then people who did bring them in, they were struggling to sell really because one they didn't want the gold box which only had them 3 pulls because it was like, what's the point? They just wanted the promo packs and they couldn't trust many people with it. I know people bought off eBay and then just got like 20 of them and 20 of the exact same card arrived.
Then you see a guy on Facebook who's got 25 of each of the big 3 and you're like, how have you had them, mate? Come on. Your eBay shop's full of promo packs.
It was just poor.
It was a bizarre one. It was really, really strange. And to be fair, it's really strange to have happened after the McDonald's set was released in the UK and the US, where you could again search with a torch. You sort of think that, you know, I know it's a different market over in Japan, but you think people would be keeping an eye on this sort of stuff and going, well, we better make sure that once we've done a pack, there's, you know, a bit of quality control. Let's get ourselves a torch and see if you can see through it. But no, apparently not. Just let it go. But alongside that, over in the UK and the US, we got Celebrations, Bush. So I don't know if you want to touch on that.
Yeah, so obviously we over the last few minutes we've been moaning at Pokemon, but again, this is another well done to them kind of moment. So, like I said, we had Evolving Skies, and like I said, for me, I thought, oh, hang on, they started to give us some more hits, and then they came out with this Celebration set, and then obviously we found out there was going to be 4 card packs, and I think at the time when that was released, there they are. There was a bit of a 4 card packs. Do I want that? And there was a bit of a hoo-ha. And then they arrived, and we all went and we could get hold of them as well, really easily. Yep. Every supermarket had stock pretty much, and all the gamers. Nick had millions.
I wish.
We just had lots and lots of stock, and we all grabbed these packs, and pretty much every time you opened a pack, you had a hit. Yeah, and that is exactly what it was all about, and everyone loved that. They were great for kids again because they were getting the hits. They were great for us to collect to collect. It does mean that the prices, like you can pretty much buy them all apart from the Zard, for pretty cheap, like a couple of quid here and there. But no one cares about that because it was literally for the love of collecting cards, and it just brought what Pokemon was meant to be about, and it was just perfect. And I absolutely loved it, and everyone did. And why wouldn't you? Because nostalgia and hits.
Exactly, I agree. I really enjoyed Celebrations. I thought they did a really good job of it. They like you say, there's no. What more can you say? It's. I was a bit jittery about the 4-card pack thing and the small. It was like it's a 25-card set with a subset thing going on. I was like, ooh, I don't know if I like the sound of this. There's only 50 cards or something. But actually, as soon as you cracked into some product and started getting your Lance's Charizard V and all of these like old school, like new takes on old school cards, and then your classic sort of reprints. You were just loving it, and I couldn't wait to go out the next day and try and get some more. And like you say, I might not get it in the first shop, but the next shop I'd get it. And like it was quite readily available. So I think Celebrations was a success overall. Thought they did really well.
Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, if they could carry out that feeling of opening pack after pack with hit after hit, you'd just carry on buying the stuff, wouldn't you? Let's be honest.
You'd be out in the next set every time, wouldn't you? But now you're like, it comes to the next thing we'll talk about, and you're like, oh, don't I? Because it's not Celebrations.
Well, exactly that.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing, isn't it? We'll talk about it in a second, but how they could went from Evolving Skies, which was a little bit better, to Celebrations to say, hang on, everyone's loving this, everyone's happy, everyone thinks we're great, should we carry on doing it? And then some guy said, nah, let's go back to pre-Evolving Skies for race.
Yeah, well, exactly that, Bush. Exactly.
You've had enough for 5 years. Wait for 30.
Yeah, it's fine. So, I mean, we exactly that happened, right? So November came around, Fusion Strike came out, and we were back to, we've had to do, don't get me wrong, we have had some decent boxes that we've done on the Rip and Ships. Like, we've actually not done too bad, but it's definitely not the Evolving Skies sort of level. And the set's bigger as well, I believe. So, like, it's Fusion Strike's still not horrific, but it's definitely not as good as we were getting with Evolving Skies. But I don't think we need to touch upon that too much. The other thing that released in November, which actually isn't on our list, but I should probably mention this, was we released, didn't we? We launched. So Thunderwave Cave came into existence in November of 2021. So we haven't been around long, but we plan to be here for a lot longer. So stick around. And if you're watching this on YouTube, come join us on Facebook. And if you're listening to this anywhere else, come join us on a Facebook group. Just give us a little search. The details will be in the description, I'm sure.
Just to combine them two things as well. So, like I say, Fusion Strikes, what I opened was awful. But every time Nick or someone opens it on Thunderwave Cave, it was a good product. It was good hits, stuff like that. So even more reason to come join us on Facebook, because even when the pull rates are bad, we'll find the boxes that aren't, apparently.
We dig them out somehow.
Yeah, exactly. So, me and Ryan did all right out of the boxes. I think we did quite good for the group members. That's good. The other thing that launched was the two sort of remake games, Shining Pearl and Brilliant Diamond. I enjoyed it. I'm still playing slowly. I gave it quite a bit of time when that first live, as we touched upon last time, so I won't talk about this too much. Since then, I have done an extra couple of gym battles, but it is something that I just pick up and sort of like play for 15, 20 minutes at a time. So, but I like it. I know there's some other people in the group that have been playing it and been enjoying it. Bush, I think you got yours. Is that right? Did you get yours in the end?
Yeah, I got mine for Christmas. So I somehow stopped myself from buying it and let the missus buy it for me for Christmas. And went like little fight on Christmas Eve because she brought all the presents down for me, and like there's not a single one that was a Switch game size. And I was like, you're kidding me. You're kidding me. I didn't buy this. Yeah, I buy everything normally for myself. But I said this year, I wasn't going to buy it. Let you buy it for me so you get me a good present that I really want to open on Christmas Day. And she was like, and then she was playing it really cool, like saying, "Oh, sorry, blah blah blah." And then I came down to it open, obviously Christmas morning. Ran downstairs 4 a.m. And she obviously wrapped it into another box, into another box, into another box, and that classic. But yeah, so I did get it, and I've been playing it quite a lot since Christmas Day. Really enjoying it. Obviously, I played the original Diamond and Pearls. I do see what the people are saying. I think I mentioned this the last time on the live, that because it was released on obviously the original DS, the power of the DS CPU wasn't good enough, so they slowed it down on that. So the easiest way to notice is like for trainer battles, you walk past someone and there is just like a millisecond delay till the little exclamation mark pops up. And obviously that's still there in the Switch. It doesn't need to be. They could have fixed it, but they decided not to. So it does annoy me every time that happens, but it's really, really minor. But the game is good. It's nice to play. I'm only like two gyms in. But the problem is I just spend most of my time in that underground section trying to find some classic Pokemon, because that's where the classics are. So
Yeah, it's a bit of a cheat, really, isn't it? Because like you can just go down into the underground and then hunt for the Pokemon you want, throw a few Pokeballs at it, and you've got it without actually having to go to the specific regions to necessarily find it. You just walk into a different room, and every time you go into different rooms, as long as there's a little gap between them, you go back in and there's different Pokemon to choose from. But I suppose it's a different way of playing the game and adding an extra bit of excitement to it.
It expands it, so it's all good.
Cool. Yeah, I think it's a good shout. I mean, I'm waiting for obviously the game that comes out, Arceus, in January. I've pre-ordered. I plan to play it in the group. I plan to stream a bit. I know that the streams for the games aren't as popular as the Rip and Ships and all those, but it gives me an excuse to play the game and just chat to a couple of people whilst I play it in the group. So that's my plan when it comes out.
Might get a few more viewers now with the groups expanding.
The groups,
a bit.
Yeah, it's bigger.
Might have a few more, mate.
Yeah. We'll soon see. End of Jan comes
we
out.
We all like
so
seeing you get tired towards the end of the live and start waffling on about rubbish. So it was especially good towards the end of your Brilliant Diamond one or whatever you did.
Yeah, I must admit, lives in general, when they get to probably about like sort of 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night, I start really, I don't know. It's almost like I'm drinking. And so people do have a good laugh at me. So yeah, you're more than welcome. Everyone come and watch me make a fool of myself as per usual.
It's not just you though. I mean, that last one, not the last one because I wasn't there for that one where it sounded like it got quite fun as well. But the one before that was about 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. I think it was. It was ridiculous, and I literally felt like I'd been drinking all night and I'd been in the clubs and whatever. I woke up next morning like I feel like I had a hangover. But it was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, well, it was a good laugh, but yeah, I was knackered. But yeah, so we have some good lives. I mean, a little bit off topic, but I suppose we're talking about the fact we only launched in November. Yeah. Ryan did a good live recently for sort of Christmas special where he got to eat some horrible sweets and everyone have a good laugh. And there was a lot of screenshots taken of you as well, Ryan, and put in the group after of all the faces you were pulling, trying to hold in the nausea.
Yeah, I'd say that this backdrop looks familiar at the minute, but it doesn't because I'm smiling.
Yeah, it's true. That is true. But I mean, that's the thing, right? Come join the lives. They're a good laugh.
Yeah. There's a huge demand now, though, just to get Ryan to eat more random stuff, apparently.
Yeah, apparently I don't need to open Pokemon cards anymore. I can just come on and eat stinky beans. I've had 2 people offer to pay me £10 to eat more. I didn't take it.
Why not? Yeah, there's a website. There's a website for that sort of stuff. So crack on. Anyway, moving on to December. So a couple of decent sized things happened in December. One of those was the return of the Japanese market for us in terms of Rip and Ships. So VMAX Climax, which we've touched upon briefly already, and we've also had a couple of chats in the previous podcast about some of the cards that were coming. But we've now actually had it opened. We've had a whole bunch of I've held up other packs so far. I'll hold up this one. So we've got some VMAX Climax. Full of character cards, right, guys? And
so nice.
I loved the character cards from Dream League and obviously came out in Cosmic Eclipse and that in the UK. But I loved them. And this set is absolutely ran with them. And in every box of 10 packs, you're basically almost guaranteed 4 character cards, one of them being a character's secret rare, effectively. And then sometimes you were getting a secret rare full art trainer as well. Pull rates were great. Pricing was back to a more manageable level than what obviously the Japanese market had been doing before. I really impressed with the cards. I thought they were great.
Yeah, no, I got my Rayquaza character secret rare, which was pulled by our Nick May himself. But Yeah, it's just so many of them. I can't believe how many times I see another one. I go, I haven't seen that one yet. And we've opened so many boxes on Thunderwave Cave. I can't believe that we've not seen them all. But yeah, I saw one the other day and I was like, oh, didn't know that one was there either. But my problem is I probably aren't going to get them all because there's just too many. It's too hassle. Like if someone just came up and said, okay, here, because they're not expensive. If someone said, I've got them all. Give me X amount, I'll do it. But the problem is no one has them all because there's too many, and no one's. So it's like I can't bother to go through eBay and Facebook, get that one, and that's the only downside.
And right now, Bush's inbox is being flooded with people that have managed to finish the set in between recording this and releasing it.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's I only want after the secret rare. What I don't like about this set is that anything before the secret rares is just. It's a reprint of either Vivid Voltage, Chill and Rain, and maybe even Darkness Ablaze. There's a couple of them in there. They're just blatant reprints, and I was just it's like fine, okay, but like it means no one. You pull a VMAX, you're like no thanks.
It's hard to remember though. Were those cards in the Japanese versions? I know some of them I've seen before.
They were.
I mean, I was thinking, am I thinking this is a Darkness Ablaze reprint? But then I'm like, but was that in the Japanese version of Darkness Ablaze, or have they not? Is it artwork they've not released in Japan yet? Because some of it, like the Charizard Holo,
an example would be the funnily enough, one of the examples would be your favourite, the Umbreon. The Umbreon was in Eevee Heroes, and the VMAX. So the Umbreon VMAX was in Eevee Heroes, and it's also in VMAX Climax. So yeah, this is their special set, right? This is basically, they have given you all the character cards. Their focus is on the character cards and the trainers. Nothing else, really. The rest of it is, effectively, as far as I've seen, just bulk reprints, whatever you want to call it. Obviously, when it comes to the English market, it's going to, some of those cards will be in Brilliant Stars. I don't know exactly how many will translate over. It tends to be, obviously, in the English market, we then sort of drip feed some of the stuff from a couple of different sets and mix it around and do whatever. Sometimes not even get all the cards. So who knows what it will be like then. I don't think we'll be seeing this as part of like a reprinted set. I don't think we'll be seeing all of them either in Brilliant Stars. We do have next year, jumping ahead to talking about 2022, but we do have, I think it's about June time, we have a special set coming out, Sword and Shield 10.5. So who knows if they're going to keep some of those back for then. Or how they'll do it.
There's in that June one as well. I've heard that a new product, team up collection or something like that. It's actually a product. Yes. I don't even know what that means. I just read it. I was like, okay,
team up collection.
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
Maybe it's all the unreleased tag team cards that are still yet to. One being Darkrai and Umbreon in, I believe, the full art and the rainbow rare never got released in English. We only had alt art or standard. I've had lots of rants today, but rants aside, especially about the Japanese market, it has been really nice opening up some Japanese product again, especially one so nice because it is nice. Okay, we got some reprints. The VMAX I sort of knew about. I was on about more about the bulk. I wasn't sure if some of the bulk cards were or not, but. That aside, like you say, the character cards are fantastic. And pulling them, opening them as every box you open, even if you don't hit the special character rare, whatever they're called, CSRs, you still have a blast opening every pack, and it's been really nice. So hopefully that market continues to stagger down a little bit, and we can keep going with it.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Fingers crossed that happens. In the UK market this month, we had quite a good bit of news, didn't we? In the Pokémon Centre opening up.
Oh, the Pokémon Centre. Yeah, I've enjoyed it. I've had mixed feelings. I've ordered some bits. I'll show you. I've got one bit here. So I ordered this the day it opened. My lighting's not very good at the minute. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, but can't even see what it is, to be fair.
It's an Evolving Skies Pokémon Centre Elite Trainer box.
Yeah,
they did do two variants for this one, and Chill and Rain. Only one variant for the latest set, Fusion Strike. But I've heard mixed reviews on the packaging for one from Pokémon Centre. I've got another one down there, but I don't want to get it out, which is the 25th celebrations ETB. That came and it was pristine. Like mintier than mint, more than I could hope for as a sealed collector. This one's did come with a bit of a bash in the corner, but that's pretty standard. It's still better than most you'd get out of a case. But somebody else in the Thunderwave group has had one turn up a fusion strike with the side completely slit open, and like the product is open. It's not even like a tear. Now. They are saying that she emailed them and said, can I swap this out for a sealed one, please? So what they're saying is Pokemon Center about this sort of stuff is that isn't part of the product. It's a bit of a grey area because some people will argue that it is, and some people will argue that it's just the packaging surrounding the product. And actually, as long as this isn't damaged, the actual box inside and the contents, then there's nothing you can do about it. So they were really unhelpful. There goes that ET, but I didn't want it anyway. They were really unhelpful, so she would have had to have paid money to send it back.
God.
Yeah, and I can't even remember what they said. I don't think they said they'd swap it, actually.
I think the thing is, right,
they gave her a 10% off. That was it for the next purchase. But her argument is like, why am I going to come and buy stuff from you again if it's going to turn up like this? I don't want 10% off. I want the original product in the condition I expected. So I think there's been a bit of
this has been the thing all
along.
A
bit of iffy stuff there.
So, like, Pokemon in general, obviously, I know you Ryan, as well, get some decent quantity sometimes where you get a case of something. But you open up a case and maybe it's a case of ETBs and there's 10 in there. And you take them out, and every time I take them out, I'm always thinking about people like yourself, Ryan, who like to keep, the sealed stuff for their collections. And I'm taking out a box and you look at it and you go, that's just in a case, like nothing has touched it. Like, what? Why is there a big tear down the middle, or why is there a huge dent in the front, or whatever it may be? But as far as Pokemon are concerned, they are selling you a product to be opened.
Yeah.
And so I get where they're coming from. I don't think it's right in that something should be fully sealed, at very, very least, should be fully sealed. And in general, like if you're shipping products, you should be shipping them in a way that stops them from taking damage. Like that's just you think that would happen? I ordered 2 of the 25th celebration boxes.
It? That's where I get it. It's presentation. It just looks bad. It doesn't matter what it's intended for. Like, I just think you get anything with a big rip or a tear or a smashed corner, you're instantly not impressed. It's your first impression of that product. It's just presentation.
Yeah. Being
bad, and I don't know. That's what I think above all. And I just think a big company like Pokemon should really possibly look at stepping their game up with it, especially as they know there's a massive sealed market for it, and people are after good condition sealed products.
I think for certain products as well, like say a collector box or an ETB, they're very much like designed for that reason, to be sealed or to be on show. So therefore, the safety of them being arrived and
otherwise take away the fancy artwork on the front,
exactly,
right?
Yeah. But then when it comes to what I only learned a few weeks ago, Nick told me, is that RRP for a booster box is like 140 something quid.
£143 in the UK.
Yeah, but you don't pay that for a booster box. Like when we started, it was like just under 100, it's like 115, 120 now, whatever. And that's because a booster box is simply just the way of getting it to the newsagent or whoever to slip it open, and then people buy single packs from. And that's the whole point. I didn't know that. I only learned it recently, and I kind of get that. It's like like if a booster box isn't quite that they're not sitting that to be displayed, so they shouldn't necessarily be overprotecting it. I get that, and
which they don't.
Yeah, so I get it for them, but it goes like an ETB or like a collection box, and I think they do need to.
It's like the mini tins, the box that comes in. Yeah. The celebrations one's a good example. It's a really nice looking like sealed item, but you can't complain if the outside's bashed up really, because that's not what it's intended for. You're meant to rip it open, pop the thing up. But if the tins inside were wrecked, then you can complain.
Yeah.
because that's what you're actually buying. ETB seem to just fall in this grey area of like, well, is that the display thing or is that the thing that you're buying? It's like, if a collection box had the side ripped open and the massive dent in, you'd take it back to the store and be like, I'm not paying for that, mate. That's a joke.
Which they did, didn't they? Like all the Pikachu V Shining Fate stuff. I actually took the last 2 of those I had out of the cupboard yesterday, and the seals they were fine when they went in my cupboard, and they've not been touched, and they're in there with all the other collection boxes. And all the other collection boxes are absolutely fine, but the Pikachu ones, the side is popped up completely, detached. And so I just took them out yesterday, took out the contents, put the Shining Fates packs in my dispenser for live rip and chips, whatever. But that shouldn't happen. That just should not happen.
And you shouldn't have companies like Game who are taping the seal back together in their warehouse before they send them out because of the complaints
or super gluing
they're getting. It's like, come on, Pokemon. Seriously, you must realise that this is a bit of an issue at this point, but So anyway, going back to Pokemon Center, that was I had a good experience personally twice, and I did 2 separate orders to test it. So I ordered my 25th, and I ordered the Evolving Skies. So me personally, good experience. As I say, one of the ladies in the group didn't have a good experience, although another order she had did turn up okay. So I'd say maybe out of 4 orders there was one that's bad. When it did go wrong, there didn't seem to be a lot that you could do about it, really. You were just stuck with a premium product. And that's the thing. You're paying for the Pokemon Center badge on it, so it's a premium label. And then you're not really being able to get anywhere with it after. You just sort of stuck with this. It's like she ended up opening it because might as well, it's open. The communication, I spoke to them a couple of times because I had the one order went through almost immediately and the money went straight out of my PayPal. The second order, I didn't get an update and the money went back into my PayPal for it, which was really odd. So I messaged them through the help center. And I found that really easy to use, and they were really fast at responding, which was really good. And any questions I had were answered, and they actually dove into it. It wasn't like just an auto response. Like, they actually had looked into it, and they explained everything to me. And then the next day, the money went out of my PayPal, and it was shipped. So it's just a bit of a beta site, isn't it? So they're obviously working the kinks out, which I get, but... products available. There's not mass amounts of stuff. Like, there isn't everything available that you could buy. So some of the Pokemon Center ETBs are missing. There's some normal, just current product that we're missing. I thought one thing they could have really nailed, but launching that, was putting some UPCs up for sale for people at a customer. I thought that would have gone a real, distance for them sort of doing that for people. Maybe they didn't have them, maybe they wanted to and didn't have them, but I don't know, I just thought that's a little trick they missed there to get people on board with it. But I overall, I think it's really cool that we've got one finally. It's finally over here. Hopefully we're going to see a store. Hopefully all the kinks are going to get worked out and there's going to be more and more products put up on there. And it will hopefully just make that part of the market a bit more accessible for us, because we do seem to miss out on a lot of stuff in the UK. And the Pokemon Center was a big thing. You had to either import it from Japan or America. Moving forward, I think it's going to be good. I do. I think it will be good.
Yeah, I think moving forward, those exclusive items, they just now we'll be able to get them right from the UK and not have to worry about using various ways of getting them from the US, where again you're talking about like the packaging issues, and they're even worse then because you had no one to even talk about. I started on StockX. Exactly. Well, I got stuff from StockX, and it's like they'd put it in a box with one little line of air pillow and just put that over a corner, and then what about the other 3 corners? Yeah, all right, great, thanks. Yeah. So it's a good thing, right? Pokemon Center UK is a good thing, and let's see what happens with that in 2022. So that's 2021. the main thing out of 2021 for all the people watching this and listening to this is that we're here now, and that's good.
It's obviously the biggest thing to happen
exactly.
in Pokemon this year.
Of course. 2022. So a little thing, obviously, like there's a lot happening in 2022. I don't want to go into too much detail right now. We can do that in a future podcast as more and more news comes out about sets and stuff. Brilliant Stars will be in February. We've got a 10.5 in June. But I just thought it'd be quite nice if the three of us come up with some sort of prediction and maybe a hope for the year, that at the end of this year, although obviously this going live on the 1st of January 2022, at the end of 2022 we can look back and see if our predictions or our hopes came to fruition. So for me, I'm hoping mainly about the Japanese market. Obviously, the UK market is doing what it's doing, but I want to get back into being able to do these rip and ships for people from the Japanese market. So my hope, or rather my prediction, this is my prediction rather than a hope, I'm expecting the Japanese market over the next probably first quarter of this year to completely settle down back to a more stable and better price point that we can then use for these rip and ships and providing product for the year. And in terms of a hope, and this is probably never going to happen, and you could probably almost guess what I'm going to say, but I'm wanting a full art or better Marill or Azumarill cards to come out in 2022. The likelihood of that happening is almost zero, but I'm going to keep my fingers crossed.
Wasn't Marill on Glaceon or something? You've had a sort of pseudo alt-art for Marill, I'm sure you have. That's about as good as you'll get, surely.
Yeah, I was just looking for it. It is behind me. I won't bother getting it out. The other thing that I did actually pick up today is Marill has made its way onto Focus isn't happening, but Marill has made its way onto a Fusion Strike sample pack. So Marill is there, but that's not enough for me. So I'm waiting for that nice alt-art card of Azumarill. That's more realistic than Marill. Let's put that there. But an alt-art Azumarill Pokemon, if you're listening, make it happen.
I think realistically, I think the closest you're going to get is possibly SVs at some point, and Marill and Azumarill SVs.
I'll take it.
Which would be cool. Don't know about alt art though.
Bush, what about you?
So my prediction is going to be around the next game. So if we go back to Sun and Moon on DSs, obviously then we had Ultra Moon, Ultra Sun. They were once a year kind of thing you expect a Pokemon game. So that's kind of how it worked. Then Sword and Shield came out and it had its DLCs. Then we had previously we had Let's Go stuff. Now we've had the remakes of Pearl and Diamond. We have a completely different game with Arceus coming out in January. So I think it would be, you would initially think probably not going to get the 9th gen game in 2022, but I reckon that's going to come out like last quarter. I reckon we are actually going to see the 9th gen Pokemon game, which that obviously, and that has huge implications to obviously the TCG and everything, doesn't it? So and a change maybe in mechanics, stuff like that. I see the Arceus running alongside as they test out the new kind of gameplay, new style. I think Arceus might be a bit disappointing to start with, but I'm hoping that they're going to learn a lot and then progress on that side in tandem with our generations, and then we may see a merge later on, maybe 11, 12 kind of time. So my prediction is that the 9th gen game will be released at some point in 2022. And then my hope, it's not going to happen, but my hope is an Evolutions style for 2nd generation, so some sort of Neo Genesis, Neo Discovery, whatever. Not like a complete reprint, but like an Evolution style, yeah? So a few of the cards be reprinted, bringing in some...
A throwback.
Yeah, exactly, a throwback. They like doing that. I mean, an easy prediction would be we're going to have a throwback to Charizard again at some point. That's going to happen. It happens at least 3 times a year, I think. But yeah, it'd be nice to actually let's start Neo the 2nd gen again, because I mean them 3 starters, they're pretty good. But you got Meganium, Feraligatr, and Typhlosion. Yeah, they don't get enough loving. So let's bring them into the picture.
Well, for me, first off, although I had a bit of a rant about some parts of 2021, I have thoroughly enjoyed Sword and Shield. I must admit, from start to finish. Although it's had its small issues in bits and bobs with printing and blah 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 blah. I think overall it's been an amazingly fun set to open and go through. I think they've done a fantastic job of the art, which leads me on to my prediction, pretty much, which is I think before the end of 2022 we will see a new style of Pokemon card. Maybe not released, but sort of shown off to build up a bit of hype for the next era of Pokemon cards. Because I think we've had Sun and Moon and Sword and Shield. We've had 2 eras of we have full arts, alt arts, rainbows, golds, SVs. Yeah, I think that's my prediction. Is that by the end of next year we'll have maybe got a bit of a sneak peek at a new style of Pokemon card coming for the next era.
So
that's
you're
my
saying
prediction.
The V-Star, is that, because we know V-Star's coming in the Brilliant Stars, but you're saying you're saying more than that, or are you just cheating?
Yeah, I mean, a V-Star is just a V, isn't it? It's not like, it's just a different type of V. Well, okay. I mean, like, if I had to put V in a bracket, I'd say it's a V card, maybe, or a V Max card, whereas, like, I mean, gold, rainbow, full art, that sort of, I think we'll see something that's a new... Do you see what I mean? So I'd say silver, but we've already had them. So, but you get what I mean. What I'm after, cheap as hell, and fast PSA subs. That's what I'm going to hope for. But I mean, you know, that is obviously a hope and definitely not a prediction, because that would be a silly prediction. But yeah, that is my hope. I'm aiming to try and get my PSA collection up a little bit, and I'd love to. I'm aiming for like a full set of SVs and 10s for Hidden Fates, because it's probably my favourite set of all time. Some vintage sets are up there with it, but I need some help doing that, basically, PSA. So drop your subs and pull your socks up for me, please.
Yeah. Make
if
it
it's
cheaper,
just for a few
make
months,
it quicker.
it's fine. I'll bang the cards in. I'll get my cards in, and then they're with you. I don't even mind if it's a year after that. Do you know what? Hope just prices down. And the fast bit, I'm happy to just sort of wait on that, to be honest.
Yeah, it's fair enough. Well, I mean, there we go. We've got some predictions. We've got some hopes. So that's something for us to touch on at the end of 2022. So, you know, in terms of the Thunderwave Cave, obviously we're hoping to do more rip and ships, more events, more videos. In fact, later today, as you have a chance to watch this on the 1st of Jan, we're doing our first grade battle reveal. So we'll be revealing our Dark Raichus that we all had £20 to buy and then grade with the same company. So we'll be doing that reveal and seeing who's the winner. Ryan's getting his box from the looks of it, just to show it off. So we'll be doing
the
that.
Losing card.
Definitely.
I mean, from the little reveal we've done in the group already, the reveal video. Ryan probably has lost it outright. Bush has skirted along the edge of cheating, and so Bush is probably gonna win this one. We may have to update the rules, Bush. I think.
I think Nicholas thinks I've done worse than I have, to be honest, but. I don't think I've quite scraped it.
The problem is
I've definitely lost.
If you've done better, the problem is that we've got to call into the question of get graded.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's true.
Yeah, we'll be saying who you bribed. No, but like all joking aside, like
I don't even know who owns get graded. Don't be silly.
We've got the grading battle that we're doing now. We're going to do another one. We're going to hopefully talk about maybe introducing that to some of you guys as well that are watching this. So we'll watch that reveal tonight and we'll discuss. But we're going to do more in the group. We're going to try and grow it. We're going to try and do more content and more things to involve you guys, and hopefully you guys have some fun and some entertainment, especially if you're watching me at 1 a.m. when I'm losing my mind. But that's sort of it from me, guys. Anything from you guys before we sign off?
No, just Happy New Year, guys.
Well, just touching on what Nick said, we will be doing our best with the content and everything for the group. But if anybody's watching this still, if you're enjoying the group, guys, all I would ask is just please help us grow it. Invite people you know that are going to be interested, because it's the most difficult part of doing this is getting the members in. And while we're all pretty busy doing other stuff and trying to think of stuff for the group and doing the stuff behind the scenes, it can get it is one of the things that we struggle to do. So any help from any of our members would be much appreciated to get us to, thousands of members instead of hundreds. Hopefully, so.
And also, Ryan wants me to have to give away stuff. So we've got
exactly
certain thresholds to meet. So you come get involved, help us grow this group, and I'll do the giveaways that have been
5,000 members. He's given his car away, so.
No one wants my car. I'm probably better off giving them a card, to be honest. But anyway, joking aside, it's been a good 2021, good start to the year for us, hopefully, coming from this point onwards. We've got a lot going on in the group. Like Ryan said, there's a lot of stuff happening behind the scenes. And so I'm excited. The guys are excited. And I'm going to round it off here and say catch you in the next one.